Welcome back to Exposure. We're here with Ryan Gagnet, writer, producer, director, and actor, and native of Maumee. So let's talk about some of your recent work that you had submitted into the Maumee Film Festival, The Prodigal Son. Tell us a little bit about the plot. What's the movie all about?
Yeah, Prodigal Son is about a dispute between two brothers as they take on their family farm. And we shot it in Pemberville, Ohio over the course of 4 days. And the story is really about brotherhood and legacy, and it's a portrait of a relationship between these two brothers.
Yeah, I could tell it's really, really dramatic. And you can also tell from, say, your earlier work, you can see the growth of how your shots and just telling the story. It was very dramatic. The acting was really good. Speaking about the acting, where do you go about finding your actors? Do you find them locally, or do you have to go outside of the state or city? How do you go about finding your actors?
Well, Backstage is a really great resource for casting. It's a website. You can set up auditions there. But for Prodigal Son, I really just reached out to actors through mutual friends and people I knew. And I would meet up with these people and just discuss the script and the story with them, and see if they take to it and try to understand their interpretation of it. And if it felt right, well, then I knew they were the one for the role.
Being such a dramatic subject, how do you really draw, being a director, I'm speaking as being a director, how do you really draw that out of your actors to be so dramatic? I mean, the acting is really spot on.
Yeah, well, I really owe a lot to them. A lot of it was the work that they did. I think they just read the script and they became immersed in their role, and I gave them directions, and of course we went through each scene and we discussed the motivations of the scene and the purpose of it, and we went line by line looking at the intent behind it all. And at the same time, when we were shooting, we spent a lot of time experimenting and trying out a scene multiple different ways and just seeing what felt right.
That was going to be my next question. Did you allow your actors to have a little bit of free reign, like improv, or did they stick pretty much to the script that you wrote?
No, they improved quite a bit. I mean, we shot the script, of course, as it was written, but at the same time, we spent a lot of time deviating away from the script.
Well, let's take a look at some of the dramatic acting in The Prodigal Son.
You're always so desperate for his attention. You hog the spotlight all the time, but the only things me and him had were that bike and this. And now you want to cash it all in.
Cash it all in? You think I wanted this? You think this is some kind of cakewalk for me? You know how terrifying it is? You're just shooting that gun off all day while me and Mom are working 24/7, and you're just here drinking yourself to death, feeling sorry for yourself? What would Dad say, huh?
You done? I'm done. I'm done.
Like I said, dramatic acting. Talking about some of your shots, though, when you watch it, I can only imagine, did you have a big budget? Because these shots are very, I would say, professional, something you would see in a mainstream film out of Hollywood. Speaking of which, there was a motorcycle scene where it's like a tracking shot. How did you get that shot? How did you go about doing that?
Well, we were shooting from the back of a car, driving in front of the motorcycle.
Did you have it on like a tripod, or was it free-handed?
Oh, it was on a tripod.
Oh, interesting. So how did you deal with the bumps in the road, or was the road flat? I mean, it's out in the country.
The road was quite flat. There were some bumps. We stabilized it in post-production, which helped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just curious. I wasn't sure if you used some sandbags or, whatever
Yeah.
kind of tricks there were. But yeah, post-production is always a good lifesaver. Yeah, some of the shots that you've composed, what really drives you to set up those shots? Talk a little bit about your technique and your style.
Well, I worked very closely with my DP, Andrew Jacobson, and I think he did a really good job setting up some of these shots. And we just thought a lot about the intent behind the shots and what they mean in terms of the perspective and the characterization and things like that. And I wanted the camera to be a little restrained from the characters. I wanted it to be very stationary and still, and that was just a deliberate choice that we made repeatedly throughout the film.
Let's take a look at some of the filmmaking techniques from Ryan Gagnet.
Now that you're gone, the days seem so gray. Ever since you went away, my heart is so sad. The nights are so black, knowing that you will never come back. What shall